Hey guys, welcome back to Rich Girl Book Club and welcome to April Reading Wrapped. Let's talk about the 4 books that I read in April, and there were some good ones and there were some bad ones. We're going to talk about it. So before we get into that, I'm Jess and I'm the owner of the Rich Girl Book Club. This is a club for everyone that wants to get a little bit richer and a little bit smarter, and I believe that reading books is one of the best ways to do that for both of them. Please subscribe if you want to join the club, and we have a lot of fun here and talk about books and talk about personal finance and everything in between. So without further ado, let's talk about April. Now, the first book that I read in April was If He Had Been With Me, which is technically a series that I will not be continuing. That's how we're going to start that off. I will not be continuing this series. So honestly saw a lot of hype around this book, not really recently, but kind of in years past and in passing, and it finally came up from my library app. So I went ahead and I read it. And honestly, I jumped in without really remembering anything about it. And it's really interesting because it reads like a romance book. I was reading it like, is this a romance book? I was like waiting for the thriller piece to happen. Is it a thriller? Is it a mystery? I still just don't know. So this book has left me with a lot of questions, which leads me to my rating of 2.5 stars. Honestly, 2 stars, and I don't really recommend it. Like, there was not really anything wrong with it, and I think it was just not for me, but this girl is basically in love with her childhood best friend, but just dates a different guy and is in love with the other one the whole time. That's like the whole thing. That's not a spoiler, I promise. That's not. So it was just really frustrating to read her interacting with the best friend that she's in love with, but they like aren't really friends, but like they are, and they see each other every week, and it's just like weird vibes, and they're like in love with each other, but they're both like dating other people. And then there's this whole other side plot that I thought was the main thing, and it was interesting, but didn't really stick with me, wasn't really memorable. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I really don't have too much to say. Let's move on to the next book. I read Sandwich by Catherine Newman. This book I didn't see anywhere. I simply just found it on Libby and took a chance on it. So this was really just a random read for me, and it was really interesting. This was a solid like 3.5 star read. It was good, but I'm hesitant to say that it was really good because it was just very like specific. So let me explain. Sandwich is a book that takes place over a family's week-long vacation, and it very much gives the coastal family vacation, like those little nuanced things if you've ever been like on a family beach vacation that you would know. It's in there and it gives that energy. So I really enjoyed that piece. And then the characters at the same time were also peculiar to me. They were so like real and raw, and they kind of turn you off a little bit, but then you're also like really curious about them at the same time. And it piqued my interest. Like while I was reading it, I was just like, where are we going with this? I didn't really know where it was going. And I don't really know technically what the type of book it is. So anyways, it was just kind of like a fiction book, not even like women's fiction or literary fiction. It was really just, I want to tell you this story, and it's not a love story. And there were some really important conversations in this book that I won't really give away because it kind of gives away plot points, but I really appreciated some of the conversations in this book and perspectives for sure. Just the main character is literally a mom going through menopause and being difficult, for lack of a better term. And that was really interesting to read, but it just was also frustrating, but like you feel bad. And I think if you were just like a mom in general, maybe with older kids, maybe adult children, this would be a cool read. It would probably let you feel less alone. So I can definitely see a place for this book. I just think I wasn't really quite the audience for it. It basically felt like looking at me in the future, but not in a good way. It was like a bad version of myself in the future. I don't know. It was really interesting. Really interesting. Kind of iffy if I recommend it. The more I talk about it, I think it's just a solid 3 star. It's fine if you pick it up. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Do what you want with that information. Okay, so we had a 2.5, we had a 3, now we have a 4 star. The Wedding People! This book was so good. I had no idea what to expect with this book. So, how much do I want to give away? honestly, I would just go into this book completely blind. Just go into it completely blind and just trust me on it is really what I would say. I have so many highlights. I think about this book a lot. We'll say the main character stumbles upon a hotel that is all wedding guests of the same wedding, and she's the only one there that is not a wedding guest. And basically she starts getting intertwined with the interesting happenings of the wedding people, which she refers to them as, and then you can see how she kind of starts getting absorbed into the wedding people. And nothing about this book was expected. It's dark but so light. It's inspiring but terrifying. It's everything. It is everything. I cannot say enough about this book. It's a beach read, but it has the depth to it that just makes it more interesting, but it also has the backdrop of like a beach wedding. Anyways, let's talk about my favorite quotes from The Wedding People. These are not spoilers. These are just quotes. These are just quotes that mean a lot. They mean a lot, and I'm just going to go through a few of them. I highlighted like 28, but we're just going to go through a couple of them that had me, It's when you stop reading and you just kind of look to the ceiling, to the wall, and think, life. That's it, just life. Okay, so a lot of these quotes are from the main character, Phoebe, by the way, but Phoebe is thinking here, quote, how much of her life had she spent in this moment waiting for someone else to decide something conclusive about her? That was her problem. She knew. Just like the feeling of wanting everyone else to make decisions about you and trust their thoughts on your actions and validating you. It's exhausting. Here's another one. But that is how it happens, she realizes. One moment of pretending to be great leads to the next moment of pretending to be great. And 10 years later, she realizes she spent her entire life pretending to be great. If you were the academically gifted, you get this one. You really get it. You get it. You're just pretending. You've just been pretending this whole time. Okay, another one. Quote, why does she have a nice day with people, feel connected to them, and then, when alone, think only about the possible horrors of her isolation ahead? Quote, you catastrophize, her therapist said to her once. Depression realism. She knows that. Yet her thoughts still have power over her anyway. They make her feel pinned to the checkered rug to her solitary existence. Like when you actually have a happy or good day and then all you can think about is how it's going to end. Sometimes this happens in the moment and you're like, this connection right here, this experience, it's going to be over and then I'm going to be alone again. Terrifying, terrifying. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Those are my favorite quotes from the book. I would like to mention that you should look up trigger warnings for this book. I think that if you're scared of the trigger warnings, you should actually read this book, okay? But it's totally up to you, obviously. But I think it's a beautiful book. The more I think about it, I think this was a 5-star read for me. I think I need to reread it. Like, I already want to reread it. That's when you know it's a good book, okay? Wedding People. Highly, highly recommend. We'll say it's a 4.5 to 5-star. I don't have to make a decision. I don't have to make a decision right now. Okay, moving on to our last book of April that I read. And I read this very summery book, one of the most anticipated summer books of last year. I read it this year in April. What book might that be? I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. And I will say I haven't read the other Carly Fortune books that are, I want to say, interconnected to this book, but not a series. I just simply don't have a lot to say about this book. But it was really good and I would recommend it. So it takes place partially on Prince Edward Island in Canada. And I really liked that island. I liked the town and how they built all that up. And then also part of it takes place in Toronto. So all like the settings were really good. I really like the characters. There's just not anything that like super is standing out to me when I think about it, but I do like it and would recommend it. And I think it was really good. I don't think this is really like the most summery book. It's branded that way. But it's really, if it's any month of the year, this book is September. It's like on the verge of things changing and things being different, but still having that wild side of summer is what I would say. And that really gives nothing away. I'm not going to give any spoilers away at all. I mean, it's a romance book. What do you think is going to happen? But Basically, the main girl hooks up with this guy on Prince Edward Island when she's there visiting her friend. And her friend has a brother that she's never met before. And I'll let you connect the dots on that one. And it was just this push and pull. And I don't know how the sister didn't know the whole time. And then there's this other plot that's going on, and I was just really frustrated with the friend giving us nothing. The friend in the book, it's like the best friend of the main character, okay? And she's about to get married. So this book also, it goes back and forth with timelines. The main timeline is the week leading up to the best friend's wedding. And just keep talking over and over again. Something's wrong, you should tell me. And then the friend is like, no, I'm not going to tell you, even though you dropped everything and came to hang out with me on the island. I just wanted to be here. It was just kind of interesting where it went. I really just simply don't have a lot to say about this book, so let's leave it at that. It was good. Solid 3.5, 4 stars. I liked it. I'm definitely going to read Carly Fortune's other books. What is it, Every Summer After or something? Some of the other ones that are maybe related to this one, I definitely will, but that's it. Those are the books that I read in April, all 4 books, and overall it was a good reading month. Definitely picked up over the month. Okay, we started with like a 2-star, and then we made our way up to 4 and 5 stars. So definitely really happy about that. What am I going to be reading in May? So I've already started my first book of May, and it's an exciting one. I'm reading Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, but I just happened to be at Barnes & Noble like the day or two after it was released, and the whole setup of the book and everything, and it's really pretty, and I'm going to read it anyways. So we picked it up, and we're reading it as a physical copy. This month was all Kindle books. Now we're reading Great Big Beautiful Life as a physical book. Let's see. After that, I will be reading The Book of Doors. I don't know much about this book at all, honestly. I've just heard really good things, and I will be jumping in blind. So that'll be my next book on Kindle. Some other books that I really want to read in May include 2 books that I physically have on my shelf, and that would be The Blonde Identity by Ali, which is a spy-related book, I believe, from the author of the Gallagher Girls series. So I've had that book for a couple months, and I want to get to that one. Another book that I really want to get to is by one of my favorite authors, Lynn Painter, and it is Nothing Like the Movies. I always have to think about the name of that one for a second, but that is the second book after Better Than the Movies, but then there's also Better Than the Prom or something like that. Anyways, this is related to her book Better Than the Movies, which I love that book. Like, I want to reread it. That was a 5-star for me, I'm pretty sure. I need to make sure that was a 5-star. It's really crazy how, like, the rankings of books can change over time. And it goes both ways, where it's like, oh, I really liked that book at the time, but now I just don't think about it. Or the opposite, where you can't stop thinking about a book. So those are my updates. And I'll say one more book on my TBR, on my radar, is the new Abby Jimenez book, Say You'll Remember Me. I really want to read that book. I'm thinking about getting a physical copy because I'm kind of itching to read it over the next couple months, in like the early summertime. And if I try to get it from the library, it's going to say, like, you need to wait 6 months. So we're going to see about that. But that was my reading wrap for April. I will put some stats on the screen here from Fable. Obviously not sponsored, but just wanted to say that I actually downloaded Fable, I think like 2 weeks ago, and downloaded all my data from Goodreads, and the stats and things that they give you is really interesting, as you can see. Last thing I want to say about Fable is Fable actually gives you this synopsis. It's your reading summary, and it's generated by AI, I believe. So let's look at my reader's summary. Romance and mystery fan, your reading is a tangled web of love and secrets. You relish in navigating the hidden layers of relationships, unearthing the known and unknown. I love that. That is so accurate. That kind of makes me want to get more into my mystery thriller genre again. I've kind of been hot and cold with that genre, like literally DNFing them or not liking them that much. So if you have any recommendations for a really good mystery thriller, let me know, especially if it's summer vibes. It's literally the second day of May, and I'm like, so it's the middle of summer. Like, I try to pull out the summer as long as I can across the year. Summer is basically April to October. and I do make the rules. So anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for watching Rich Girl Book Club. Please subscribe to join the club so we can talk about more bookish things, our TBRs, the best books I've ever read, etc. So thanks for watching. Bye.